Hey everyone, my name is REDRUP. This is the It's Not a Phase podcast, and my guest on this episode is As December Falls vocalist Bethany Hunter. We talk about the band's third album, Join the Club, the extra challenges and struggles of being a DIY band, the importance of their fan base, their recent set at Download Festival, winning a Heavy Music Award, being a band for nearly 10 years, and loads more. Now, if you enjoyed this or any other episode of the podcast and you want to show your support, there's a few ways that you can do that. Number one, leave a rating and review wherever you're listening to this. It takes just a few seconds and it really does help. Number two, share this on your social media, whether that be Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, wherever. Or number three, if you want to go the extra mile, you can pay a little bit each month to join the Patreon, and in return you'll get access to episodes early along with some other perks, or you can pick up some merch from the store. All the links to that and the podcast socials where you can follow us can be found at itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. And now with all that out of the way, let's jump right into this week's episode of It's Not a Phase. What's up everybody? Thank you for joining me on this episode of It's Not a Phase, where I'm joined by Bethany Hunter, vocalist for As December Falls. How's it going?
Hey, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
All good, all good. Yeah, I'm just saying, album is just around the corner, so kind of all hands on deck, getting everything ready. Third album now, Join the Club. Yeah. How are you feeling about finally getting this out there? Because I think you announced it quite a little while back now, haven't you?
Oh yeah, a long time ago. It feels like forever. And then obviously from my perspective, I'm like, I wrote these songs like years ago now. We're ready to go for this album. So for me, I've been sat on it for quite a while, and I'm so excited for everyone to finally be hearing this, because it's definitely one of those where I realise every band puts everything into every one of their songs, but we genuinely put just blood, sweat and tears into this. So I'm just so excited for everyone to finally hear it.
Yeah, like you're saying, you know these songs for so long now.
Yeah.
Whereas when this finally drops, it's going to be fresh on people's ears. So it's just kind of strange that, different perspective of things, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. It's always a weird feeling, because obviously with albums, like, we've got all these singles, yes, they've gone down well, but you never know how the album is going to go. In my head, I'm like, this is an absolute bop of an album. There is not one filler track on there. It's all great. Whereas, how do I know that everyone else is going to love it as much as I do?
Yeah. I mean, you say you're not sure how it's going to go down, but I mean, we said just before this started, and I saw on your social medias that you've spent literally hours signing thousands of copies of the album, which, congrats, that's an amazing achievement.
Thank you.
Yeah, I imagine your wrist just needs a break for about a year now.
Oh, absolutely. I refuse to sign anything else again for the rest of the... No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no, it has been crazy. It's been insane. We're pushing for this album to chart. We're, fingers crossed, manifesting that it happens. But yes, everyone we speak to, we're like, please just buy one album. Like, it's fine. It will really help us. It will be great. And being an independent, unsigned band doing all of this completely on our own, if we chart, that would just be insane. It would be incredible. But yeah, we're aiming for top 10. So if you're listening to this, please pre-order our album. We will love you forever.
Yeah, it's basically unheard of to get, like you said, you're basically like an independent DIY band, and to even break into the top 10 is just unheard of, more or less, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. We realise it is a huge goal to have, but if anyone can do it, it's going to be us. Like, we've been doing this for a very long time, and being independent, you fall into a lot of, I don't know what I'm doing, like learning on the way the whole time. It's very much when you start a new job and they're just like, it's fine, just learn on the job. It's easy. It's cool. And then you're there and your brain is panicking and the anxiety comes in and you're like, did we make the right choice doing this? Did we do this right? Is this okay? Do people like this? Do they prefer whatever? Yeah, so it's been an insane roller coaster, and we realize it's a big goal, but we're going for it. We're heading it up. We're fingers crossed, everything is going to go ahead.
Yeah, well, it definitely seems like there's I think between your last album, Happier, which was 2021, I think that came out, to this album, I think you've had over triple the pre-saves as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you kind of notice, obviously being in the band yourself, did you notice when there was like a turning point where things kind of swelled up dramatically for you?
It's definitely been the last I'd say the last year is when we have felt it as a band, because we were all working 9 till 5 jobs, basically. Some, like, not all 9, but we were all working full time, and doing this band, it's like having another full-time job on top of that. So in the last year, I've had to quit my job because they basically wouldn't let me go on tour. And I was like, but I need to go on tour. I'm in a band. Like, let me go.
Bastards.
Yeah. And that's like the funnest part. So I was like, yeah, let me go. So I've ended up having to leave my job. And we've had different members of like dropped hours, took up hours. Like it's all been crazy. And the fact that we've only just got, well, not only just, literally the last year has kind of been chaotic for all of us. But we've got to that point now where we're all like, I don't know how we're doing this. We're surviving on lots of coffee and like 4 hours of sleep and just trying our best to muddle through. Yeah, but even so, even the last 2-3 months compared to the rest of that year, it's suddenly gone just uphill, like dramatically. As I said, in the last month alone, we started off by winning a HMA. Which,
congratulations.
Thank you so much. That was crazy and insane. We were not expecting it. Even the nomination, we were like, oh, well, this is really flipping cool, isn't it? Like, how awesome is that? Then when we won, we were like, oh, okay, people are vibing with us, they're jamming with us, we're getting there. And then a couple of weeks later, we played Download, and we were on the Avalanche stage, and people couldn't get in the tent. It was that busy. And
yeah, I was there. It was packed out. Like,
yes,
people couldn't get in.
It was so insane. And like, obviously from the stage, I was just looking and I was like, why are all these people coming to see us like us? It's really crazy. So then we had that, and then we've had, it's just things like the interviews that we've had, all of the podcasts, like this one that we're being on, like it's all just been all hands on deck, all go ahead. And as I said, the last couple of weeks with pre-orders have gone insane, because I think we're basically doing a really big push with the whole please help us chart, because that's what we want to do. We want our fans to feel a part of this community that we've created, and that yes, we're charting, but you guys are all charting too, because you're making it happen. So it's amazing. And yeah, the last couple of months have been insane. It's definitely on an uphill, and at the minute, I do not see it slowing down anytime soon.
Well, whatever you're doing, just keep doing it.
Yes. Just
keep
panicking through life. It's going to be great.
Yeah. That's how I live my life. Just wing it and just hope for the best. And
absolutely. Yeah. It's always one of the things where people will see you on stage for like that half an hour to an hour, and they'll be like, oh, that's so cool, it's awesome. And then they don't realize that the rest of the time, like even just to do a half an hour set, it's the getting everyone there, the crew, the moving equipment and all of that to go on stage half an hour and live the best life and have the greatest time. And then backstage we're like, oh, have we done our flipping VAT returns and things like that? Yeah. It's crazy.
Well, it's not even that. It's like when you're on tour or going to a festival, it's the run up to that. Like, you've got to stay healthy on the road, because if you get ill, then you can't play. I know, unfortunately, you fell a bit sick the other day and had to pull out of something, but it's the unfortunate reality of being on the road. Yeah, no, absolutely. And the minute one person in your team or just on the tour in general gets sick, the whole touring crew just goes down like instantly. On our last UK tour, which was last October, our merch girl got sick, and literally in the van we were like putting me and her on opposite sides, just like, don't breathe on her, don't look at her. And then it was on the last day, we finished in Nottingham, so we were like, let's finish on a hometown show. Yeah. And it was on that last day that I was a bit like, oh, I'm not feeling great. But because it was only day one, I was fine, and I went ahead and it was cool. But then the week after that, I was dead, and I was like, I am so glad that I only caught this at the very end of the tour. So yeah. So you just scraped by on that last date, yeah. Literally. Well, you're talking a moment ago, about the fans, and I guess that kind of ties into the album title, Join the Club. And it's kind of a necessity when you're an independent DIY band, that your fan base is basically your label in a way. Like, it's kind of like your backing, I don't know if you're in a business like a shareholder or something like that. Oh no,
Absolutely, we 100% agree with that. We've said it in time and time again, like our fans are basically our label, because we're just so open with them as well, which is again why we called our third album Join the Club, because we go on about this as December Falls community that we have, but we do have such a lovely just team of fans around us that just support us and push us. Like, we have a Patreon channel where we do these like not meet and greets, just like video chats and things with them. And we'll be on there, and every single time we just give them something and we're like, can you help us decide, because we have no idea what we're doing. So like half of the merch, they've pretty much gone, yeah, do that one, that's the best one. So we're very involved. Like, they chose the live video because we had like a couple of different edits, and we were like, we don't know, like we don't mind, you guys choose. And they did like a whole vote, and they were all talking to each other amongst it and choosing what bits they liked from each video. We're very, very involved with our fans, like, because we know that they are our brick and mortar. They're the ones that are building us and are keeping us going. So we've always had, we're not like fuck the industry, because obviously we need the industry, but I think those people need to realize that it's the fans that make the music industry. Like, without them, none of us matter at all. And we've always known that from the get-go. So we just want them to feel as involved and as with us as possible. Like, this isn't our album, it's our album. I realize I said our twice, but you got me. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, without the fans, there is no industry, right? Like, if fans don't buy tickets, if fans don't listen to the album, if fans don't do anything, then what is there? You're playing to a room to no one. You're selling tickets to no one. Venues are not getting anyone in the doors, you know?
Absolutely. I remember years and years ago, we had a couple of conversations, and many different people were saying, oh, guitar music's not in anymore. Like, put your guitars down, do some like synth stuff and things. And we were like, no, we're just going to keep doing what we want to do. And the amount of fans we had, and they were just like, people are not making this music anymore. Obviously, yes, in the last couple of years that's changed, because it's all came back, like with the likes of like Machine Gun Kelly and stuff, like building the path again. But I remember us sticking to our guns, and our fans were right there with us. And it was actually in another podcast that this was brought up, and I remember saying, the thing is, we're making an album to sell it to fans. We're not making an album to sell it to you, to like you guys. We're not doing it for you. We're doing it for people who have grown up with us, because it is very much like that with us. Like, we've been in this band almost 10 years now. Our fans have very much grown and changed with us. They've been on this road from the get-go, a lot of them. So it's like they're genuinely just all a really huge unconventional family. It's ridiculous, but yeah.
Well, it's a no-brainer, isn't it? Why would you not listen to your fans, who are the ones who are listening to music, who are going to buy your merch?
Exactly.
What do they want? What are they going to buy? What are they interested in?
Yeah, no. Well, it's things like even merch drops. Like, we keep going, we need to make a t-shirt that isn't black, but every time we put out anything, they're like, no, I only wear black. And like, I completely agree. I also only wear black. And then it's like, we're like, oh, does everything look the same? And it's just because that they want that. That's what they want. So that's why we're doing it. But yeah.
Yeah. What better market research than the market themselves, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, speaking about, you know, the title track, which also opens up the album, like, lyrically, to me, it sounds kind of like, especially in the chorus, you know, it's kind of addressing mental health, and, you know, it's okay to not be okay sometimes.
Yeah.
You say, you know, with it being the title track, that kind of, in a way, broadly kind of encompasses what the album's kind of about and what kind of topics you kind of mention.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Join the Club, especially in the chorus, I wanted it to be a slight nod to our last album, Happier, because Happier was very much, because it was written in lockdown, it was very mental health based, and it was very, let's wallow in it and be sad. Whereas this album is very much, we touch on a lot of topics that are actually very, very serious, but we're doing it in a really positive way. So we're doing it in a, yeah, we're sad, but we're going to get through this and we're going to come out the other end. We're going to be happy. Everything is going to be a-okay. And I like that. And I love the development of that. So we've gone from, let's just be sad and sit in bed all day and just not do anything, to let's be sad for a day, but then the next day we're going to get up and we're going to have a great time. Let's keep going. But yeah, I love the title track a lot. We were and ahhing for a long time because I really, really, really wanted it to be one of the main singles, but we were in constant struggles, having inner band arguments with each other over which ones we could choose. Again, this is what happens because we love every single song so much. Like it's like I Can't Sleep. We love that track so much, but we were like, do we do it as a single or is it a bit too weird for us to put out as a single? Yeah. So there's so many arguments about which ones will get chosen. But yes, Join the Club is definitely, I think it's either my top 1 or top 2 on the album.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's a good problem to have, isn't it? Like you love all these songs so much that you can't decide which one edges above the others to be a single.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's a great problem to have, but it's very annoying when, from a writer's perspective, I hear every single one and I know what I've put into each one. I know what each song is about. And so I get very attached, as you would. Like, it's like each song is like one of my children and I'm like giving it out to the world. It feels very vulnerable, but I want people to hear it because I feel like the fans like the fact that I'm touching on these subjects and letting them know that, like, yes, we're in this band and stuff, but we're still affected just as much as everyone else.
Yeah. Well, musically as well, the album, at least compared to like your previous material, to me it kind of seems more on like the rock side of pop rock or more on the punk side of pop punk. Was that kind of like a conscious effort before putting this album together? And do you think anything in particular kind of influenced you going down that route a little bit more this time?
See, I feel like each album, I've always kind of we have bits of everything. So we always have like a bit of a sad song, a little boppy song, a rock song. But for this one, because we came out with Mayday and Carousel and we were like, this is the shit, basically. We love these tracks. I think we kind of went, you know what, let's keep doing this. And we just edged more and more towards that sound. Yeah. And like we're all rockheads, we all listen to everything, but I think at the time we were definitely listening to a lot more like Beartooth, My Chem, all of that kind of vibe. But at the heart of it, I'm a pop punk kid. Like I've grown up on Paramore and Fall Out Boy and Panic, so you've got to have those pop punk bops just to keep everyone dancing. But yeah, there's definitely a lot more mosh pit tracks on this one.
Yeah, it definitely seems like you've kind of, dabbled in things that maybe tipped your toe in before, or just trying a few different things. So like on the track Honey, towards the end there's like an a cappella kind of bit, which is pretty cool. And then you mentioned I Can't Sleep earlier, and that kind of has, in the riff work, it's kind of a bit metal influenced, it sounds like.
Yeah, you should honestly, on the deluxe version of our album, we've got the demo version of I Can't Sleep, and it started off as a pop track. It sounds nothing like the final version. I think we rewrote that song like 4 or 5 times because we just couldn't decide what we wanted to do with it. And it was only when we were actually recording it, like in the studio, getting it all together, that we were like, let's go down this dark, spooky route. It's going to be fun. Let's go for it. And it turned into one of our favorite tracks. I know that Timmy really, really loves that track. He's very excited. I think we may end up playing it on our tour in November, maybe.
Wink, wink.
Yeah. But again, it was like that with every song. But no, this one, the sound feels more complete. It feels more whole. It feels like we've finally sort of got to grips on how we want to sound. Whereas the first two, I feel like we were still sort of, what are we doing? Like, because we were younger when we were writing those, and now we're like, nah, we know that this is what we want, this is what we like to do, so that's what we did.
Well, like you said before, you're kind of learning on the job, aren't you? You're finding your feet. Yeah. Now you finally found your feet.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we knew that this is going to be the route that we were going to continue down as soon as we released Mayday, because the hype and just monstrous response we got to that one track, we were like, this is what the people want. You got to give them what they want. Yeah. And then the follow-up when we did Carousel, and like Radio 1 absolutely loved it. They went crazy with all of that. So if anyone wants to know, that's the route we are continuing down. We are possibly maybe starting writing soon, and that's kind of the vibe that we've got for stuff. But I love this. Haven't even released the third album yet, and we're already like, yeah, we're writing again, we're doing more.
That's what you got to do in this day and age. You got to keep on it. Like, got to keep putting out content, and hopefully it sits with people.
It's a vicious cycle. It just never ends. Like, you just keep going round and round and round.
Yeah. We mentioned Mayday, it's got that kind of like breakdown section as well towards the end, and then you've got a song like Alive, and you've got some like string sections going on in the background a little bit. So you have kind of like gone into all these different directions, but it all kind of seems to fit, which is obviously exactly what you want.
Yes, which is, again, absolutely what we want. Like, whenever I'm trying to tell anyone about what this album is like, I'm kind of like, okay, what kind of music do you like? And I'm like, that's on the album. Yeah, that's on the album. Yeah, that's on the album. Because we've got our rocky tracks. We've got Join the Club, which, as you know, is just like, it's just a boppy song. Like, I can't listen to that without just bopping around in my seat, and like, I love it. But we've also got Home, which is obviously acoustic, it's soft and it's super powerful. We've got Honey, which again, it's poppy, but it's just cool. It's awesome. Like, it's every single song. I feel like I could talk to you for like an hour about each song, about how it was.
But so, with all these kind of different directions and sounds, what was the writing and recording process like? Were you doing bits and bobs of the album, or was it kind of one kind of complete time period where you were putting it together?
So we worked with our good pal Alex Kopp for this one. So he was our producer for most of the record. We actually did Go Away beforehand with John. So he did Go Away with us, and then we worked with Alex. And when we worked with Alex, the first song we did with him was Mayday, because obviously when you're trying to work with someone new, we want to just do one song just to see what it's like, see if we gel, see if it fits. And we did Mayday, got a rough version of the track back the following day, and we were like, yeah, this is working. This is exactly what we wanted to happen. So then from there, we recorded the drums in a studio, but we're a bit odd and we do our drums last after everything, just in case we want to change bits of the song.
That is a bit strange compared to what bands normally do, but if it works. So
we have like really terrible like MIDI drums programmed in that sound nothing like the final drums, and we jam to that just so that it's like we've got the beat, we know what's going on. And then we do the drums last, so that if we have fucked around too much with guitar parts or anything, so that we can change it as and if it's needed. And then the rest of it, so all the guitars and the vocals, were actually recorded in my living room downstairs. Fun times. Because we basically built like an acoustic treated wall, and we stood in front of it, and it was balanced very precariously on my light fitting, which probably we shouldn't have been doing, but that's how we recorded it. If anyone wants to know, I think we've got some really terrible pictures of me singing with like a wall right behind me on top of my head. But yeah, we recorded it in the living room. We worked through it a song at a time, just so that we didn't want to feel like we were doing the same song copy and pasted. So we like to do it a song at a time, so that we know each one is actually going different, and that we can actually work with different tones and get out all our ideas of what we want. And then with the vocals, we do a ghost track of the whole entire track, which is always terrible and awful. And then we go back over it line by line, getting it all perfect. And then my favorite bit of recording vocals is at the end, we just play the song, and I basically just ad-lib over the whole song. And then if a bit sticks that we're like, that was actually very cool, we'll then re-record that bit in and like get it all together. And it's very funky. I think it's one of the most creative ways we've recorded so far, because we've never had as much freedom, I don't think. Like, the other albums, we love them, but we were always on a bit of a time crunch. It was we only have 2 weeks. But because it was literally in our living room, we had as much time as we wanted, and we could record till like midnight. It was fine. Like, it was okay. But yeah, it was very fun. I really enjoyed recording the last album, which is very odd for me to say, because I've said again and again, I don't like recording. I feel too much pressure and anxiety, and I'm like, this is going to go out for everyone to hear, and I panic too much. Whereas this time,
as a vocalist, because like you've got good takes, don't you? Like, it's your voice, and whereas out the guitar, it's just change the tone a little bit. And
yeah, it's like, oh, let's just like edit this one note out.
Yeah.
Like we'll just get rid of that. But yeah, so I'm normally very anxious when I record and I don't have a good time. But this time I loved it. It was a nice, friendly atmosphere. Like it was just great. But yeah, I really loved working with Alex. I would recommend him to anyone.
And it helps that you're in your home, because then, like you say, you can just work till whenever you want. There's no pressure of, I've got to get this perfect take in the next hour so we can actually stay on time.
Absolutely. And it's also little things, like as in, me and Andy are not morning people, whereas Timmy is a morning person. So it's even stuff like we can start at an appropriate hour for me and Andy, because we're typical. We keep going, yeah, we're going to start like going to bed early, waking up earlier, and then it just gets later and later and later. And it's like, I don't know if you sing or anything, but it's really weird singing when you've just woke up. It's just
your voice is just not there.
Yeah. It's a strange feeling. So I always like to be at the end of the day, basically as late as possible. I'm on like gig schedule permanently, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't sing, but like that's why I'm doing this podcast. I'm kind of like adding like voices over it. I can't do it in the morning. I've got to be up for like maybe 2 hours before I do anything.
Absolutely. You've got to have like had a tea or a coffee, had like a sandwich or something, just something to line it all and make it all.
Yeah. Well, I believe this is also your first record as a trio, wasn't it? Because I think your old drummer Lucas, did he leave towards the end of last year, I think?
Yeah, so he's recorded everything. So all the drums are by Luke, so you've still got that Luke atmosphere, which we absolutely love. But yeah, he left towards the end of last year because him and his wife, they wanted to start a family, and he loved the shows. He loved playing the shows. He loves As December Falls, but your priorities change as you get older. It's just because us three, we have no lives or aspirations apart from this band. But yes, unfortunately he had to leave. But no, don't worry, his drums are still on the album. We've still got some absolute banging drums on there. So yeah.
Cool. He's still there in spirit.
Yes, no, absolutely.
Well, you mentioned earlier, you played out to a packed out tent at Download. I think that was your first Download as a band, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like we've been, because obviously it's pretty much on our doorstep because it's in Donington, we're in Nottingham, so it's like 20 minutes away from us. So we've been going to the festival for years and years and years. I think it was actually Andy's first ever festival going to Download. So actually playing it was insane, and the fact that we played it to so many people was crazy. But no, I have a very, very core memory from Download where before we went on, they were playing Barbie Girl and Venga Boys and all of these really dancey tunes. And I have like a core memory of me walking from behind the curtain to like look at the crowd and seeing a whole tent of emo kids just singing boom, 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 boom. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And it's just stuck right here in the middle of my head, just like living rent free. That's what I picture all the time. And it was such a lovely way to start the show because everyone was already hyped. And then when we walked on, the response, it was just incredible. Like it's one of them things that I don't even know how to describe the feeling, because you're on and everything's happening at once, and then all of a sudden you're off and you're trying to think and remember of all these bits and what happened. But yeah, it was insane. It was just a whole entire other level of performing. Yeah.
Well, I think as well for, Download Festival, not just for UK bands, but rock bands across the world, it's kind of like a badge of honor to be able to play that festival.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, our first sort of festival aim was to play Slam Dunk, and we did that one last year. Then we were like, what's our next festival aim? We were like, let's play Download. We really want to do that. And then we got offered it, and we were like, we're actually doing this. And we're like, I feel like next time we need to be like, yeah, let's headline Wembley or something, just to see if
why not?
Just to see if apparently if we say things, sometimes it comes true. So.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can play the next When We Were Young Fest, or if Warped Tour ever comes back, get you on there.
Yes. Yeah, I remember when we started, we were all like, please can we play Warped Tour? And then it stopped and we were all like, no. Like, why is this happening? No, we've actually got a little video coming out just behind. It's just because I was saying I wanted people to hear Join the Club. I wanted a video for it. So there's actually a video coming out made up of all of our download footage for Join the Club. That will be coming out on album release day. So you'll see it, you'll hear it. And literally we were watching it back because we only got the draft of it back yesterday. So we've only just seen this. It perfectly sums up and shows all the chaotic stage energy of that show and just the day in general. Like, it filled me with so much happiness when I watched it. I was like, oh yeah, that happened. That was cool. That was awesome. So yeah, that's coming out. So you can all see the chaotic download energy very, very soon.
So if some people listening didn't get a chance to go to download for whatever reason, then this is the next best thing. Like, they can be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you mentioned before, just before download, you got the Best UK Breakthrough Artist at Heavy Music Awards, which is amazing in itself to win an award like that. But not only that, it's the fact that Heavy Music Awards, it's like public votes, isn't it, that grants the winner. So that must be extra gratifying and for you.
It was shocking, to say the least, because I think the first round, like how they choose the bands that are going to go in, they ask lots of different people in the industry. So just to get to that round, we were a bit like, because we've been independent for so long, like we don't really have many contacts or friends in the industry. So the fact that we got in, we were like, well, this is insane. And then when it went to public vote, we were like, right, it was nice. It was nice being here. But like, I doubt we're going to, because we were against some amazing people. I was like Black Gold, Delilah Barn, like so many acts, and we love all of them. Like, we're really good friends with a lot of them. So we were like, oh, I don't, this might not happen. And then we got there, and when they said our name, we were all just sat there, like just not moving. And then our PR agent Siobhan, she was like, guys, go. She was like, get on the stage, you've just won. And we were like, what? Like, what? And then we just started walking, and I was watching the video back and I look so grumpy as I'm walking, but I think in my head I was like, there's so much happening all at once, what do I do? And I just
confused
with my face. It instantly changed as soon as like I got on the stage. But equally, when I got on the stage, I looked out and I was like, oh my God, I now have to speak at Wembley in front of all these people. I do not know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, what's going to happen? But no, it was beyond shocking. It's the fact that all three of us, we were just sat there, not moving. And it's only because she was like, you've just won. And we were like, oh. Like,
okay, this is happening.
Yeah. It was very fun though. That was one of our first ever events where it's something like that. And I'm so happy that the HMAs exist, because it's just, rock music isn't really recognized. So to have that event where we all get together, have a chat, you get to meet everyone, it's just such a fun experience to be a part of. And as I said, we just didn't think we'd get there, but now that we are, we're trying to survive anyway.
Sounds like you're thriving, not just surviving.
I feel like it looks that way from the outside, but on the inside, it's constant
stress, worry.
Yeah.
Well, I think an award like, I think it's just like the name Breakthrough Artist can sometimes, for people on the outside, they just think you're kind of like a band fresh out the gates. But what we've talked about in this conversation, you've been going for a good few years now. We're up to album number 3.
Yeah.
How does it feel for you, like kind of looking back to when you started this band to where you are now and what you're achieving? Like, how are you kind of mentally processing that?
It's an odd one, I'm not going to lie. I remember when we started this, I just assumed we'd occasionally play like a pub or something. Like, I just had no idea that it was going to go this far. And then we got, because I'm not going to lie, for the first couple of years, I don't think we were really taking it as seriously. I kind of count the start of our band as when we released our first album, because that's when we were like, we really like doing this, let's keep going. And then suddenly we started selling out all these shows and we were like, people like us, let's keep going. And that's kind of been how we've taken every single step. So each time we've accomplished something, we're like, well, that was cool. Now what do we do next? How do we move forward? How do we do this? But it's definitely changed a lot. Like, as I said, when we started, I was still thinking about like, what am I going to do when I leave uni? Am I going to go into, because I studied creative and professional writing. So I was like, okay, what do I want to do with that? Do I want to originally I wanted to go write for magazines and things. Right. I wanted to do like music things, but that's what I thought I was doing. I just thought this was kind of like a hobby, a little bit of a side project. And then we released that first album and it was suddenly a big change. All of our hearts changed. It was, okay, we've got to be all in on this. And now we're here. Now I've quit. Now I don't have a job. Now I'm just doing As December Falls all the time. But yeah, it's definitely been a change. And it's something I think we're still dealing with. Because as I said, it's only going uphill. And yes, it's getting better. And yes, it's more exciting. But it's also so much more difficult. And it's so much harder. And there's so many more obstacles that we have to climb over. And it's a case of even things like, as in, there's absolutely zero money in the music industry. So the fact that we probably all, again, I have to do something for work and money, forever, basically. I think everyone I know in the music industry who doesn't have a full-time job, they all have 100 side hustles going on to try and get whatever they can, whether it's doing merch on other people's tours or sound engineering or teching, just anything like that. Everyone is just constantly on the grind because they just need to survive until they hopefully get to that breaking point. And that's kind of where we are now. So we talk to so many bands and they're like, yeah, we're all on benefits because we don't have any money to live. We can't afford cereal and things. The fact that at the minute we're making it work and we've got some flexibility within our jobs that we can work on the road and things like that. And it's even little things like that. If we couldn't work on the road, I don't know what we'd do. How would we be doing these tours? It's insane. But yeah, we're getting there. We're crawling our way up. And so far it's going okay. We will let you know if it changes.
Well, yeah, like you're saying, people from the outside that, kind of they're seeing the highlights reel, really, aren't they? They're seeing the tours, the festivals, the album releases, the singles, the videos, whereas there's a lot of moments where, things get tough, tour life isn't for everyone. Like we said before, you can get sick on the road. There's the trial and error of writing and recording stuff and then kind of self-doubt, especially when, like you said before, you're a DIY and independent band. There's so many more obstacles.
It's even a case of finding the time to be able to write and record is crazy. We're just all very time poor all the time. And I'm okay with that. I've kind of began to understand that that's what it's going to be like for a very long time, because that just simply is. But it's little things friends getting together at the weekend and having a barbecue. Most of the time we can't go because we're doing something.
Yeah,
we've got
that's the thing. Personal sacrifices, you can't spend time with friends as much as you want. You miss family events and stuff like that.
Yeah. And it's little things as in, obviously I'm married to Andy, but relationships, things drop off. It does get very hard and very tough. I'm just very lucky that I happen to be married to the guy who's also in my band, so it's fine.
Makes things a bit easier. Yeah,
it makes it a little bit easier because at least we're both struggling on tour together. It's fine. But there's obviously other members they're taking months away from their partners, and that's not for everyone. I wouldn't be able to do it. I know I wouldn't. And there's a lot of sacrifice going on. Yes, we absolutely love it and we wouldn't change it, but we're up till 2 a.m, sorting out postage and packaging for different merch items and things it's everything. And the admin just basic admin that goes into everything, because we very much believe that people should be able to chat with us and talk to us, but there's a lot of you guys out there. It takes us hours and days to reply to all of you.
But as you get more popular, there's more and more people.
Yes, but we're never going to not do that, because why should you chat to us and have us ignore you? That's not nice. Do you know what I mean?
It's kind of like a catch-22 situation, really.
Yes, but no, again, we wouldn't change any of it though, because what we're doing, we know that they believe in us, and it kind of makes you believe in yourself as well. So as I said, we have our Patreon, our Discord and things, and people are constantly talking in there. They're just full of support and full of just lovely messages that you just need every now and again. So I wouldn't change it, because I know that what I'm doing, people love it. They're absolutely loving it, and I love it too. I like what I'm doing. It's not always glamorous, but some of it is. So it's balancing it. So.
Yeah, you got to take the rough with the smooth sometimes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, you've been a band for like nearly 10 years now, I think. So, and over those times, like we just said, like there's tough moments. What do you kind of think has made you particularly resilient to be able to keep going and kind of break through those barriers?
I think this is the thing, like we're at the point where a lot of bands that have been going for this time, they either choose to keep fighting and dealing with the difficulties, or they stop. So it's things like with Luke, he's very much at that phase of his life where he wants to have a family, hence why he left. Whereas like I'm not particularly in that frame of mind. I'm very much, no, we're going full power ahead, because if we don't do it now, we're not going to do it in like 10 years time. That's just not going to happen. Like it's definitely, yes, if you're Rolling Stones level, you can be however old as you want, but it's not like, it's kind of a young person's game, and we're all like pushing 30, so we're just doing our best to get through, because it is things like, do people really want to be on tour in a splitter van with 9 other bodies? Like,
it's not a dream, really.
It's not ideal. It's not ideal. It's a choice. It's a choice for sure. But yeah, so I think it's just a case of each thing we have got to, like, I think we have a group call nearly every day now, because we have some kind of decision that crops up and we need to make a decision there and then as to what we're doing.
Right.
And it's usually money related, because it's usually, right, we've got no money, we've got to pay for this. What do we do? How are we going to do that? And so we have to have these discussions, and it's a case that we are willing to push through and power through. Whereas some people are like, you know what, it's getting too hard. I can't deal with that, which again, that's fine. Like
it's valid.
It is difficult. And as I said, it's a choice. It's a life that you have to choose. You have to be okay with. You have to be fine with the fact that you're probably going to survive most of your time on like 4 or 5 hours sleep max. Like that's how you're going to have to live. And yeah, it's a difficult life to have. Yeah.
It's a good life to have. Otherwise you wouldn't be doing it.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I wouldn't change it at all. Like, as I said, the music side of it, creating music, putting out music, like, it's like my own version of therapy, basically. I love it. I wouldn't change it. It's my passion. And I'm just very lucky that I actually get to do my passion as a full-time thing. And so many other people can't do that. So I'm grateful every day for the place that we're in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think, did the band form in 2014? Is that right?
Sounds about right. I think so. Yes.
Which then makes next year the 10th anniversary of the band.
Yes, it does. We'll have to do something big for it.
Yeah. You've got to think about celebrations. Ask the fans what they'd like. See what they say.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll do an online vote. Be like, what do you want? Do you want a show? Do you want merch? Do you want this? Do you want that? Like, we'll put it all out there.
Yeah, definitely. Well, speaking of the future, you've got, of course, the album Join the Club out on July 21st. You've got some in-store meet and greets around that time as well. I think there's like a few acoustic sessions. Is that right?
Yeah, so we've got like a week. I think I want to say there's 5 or 6 shows. I can't remember. Again, my head is all over the place right now. Yeah. Got about 5 or 6 shows. We're going to lots of different independent record stores. We're very excited about that. We've got acoustic sets, meet and greets, photos, merch. We've got like an in-store vinyl variant that isn't available anywhere. It's just a retail only variant. It's very cool. It's like this proper stormy grey colour. So I'm very excited, because I feel like we're going to get those out and everyone's going to be like, yes, this is amazing. And also all of our vinyl, for not even just the new album, just every single album we have is sold out. It's all gone. So the only place you can get vinyl currently is going to be in retail, in store. So yes, come down to that. Get yourself a cool, funky vinyl. It will be cool.
And you can do more signatures, because you love them so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be really good at them by then, though. I've had thousands of practices. So.
Yeah. If there's a job for it, then maybe you can use that as an extra source of income.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to one of the people in the warehouse, and they were like, I feel like they need to invent like a robot hand that copies.
Yeah.
So that you can sign loads at once to go.
Yeah. Saves you time, saves you, well, I don't know if it'd save you money, you'd probably have to pay for that, but
yes, you'd probably have to pay a lot.
Yeah. And then you've got a headline tour in November and December, and you're going to Europe and Ireland and in the UK as well.
I'm so excited. But it's going to be the first time we've been to Ireland. No, not the first time. We played with Olive Soup. The first time we're headlining a show in Ireland. And we've also got like a show in Belgium. We've never played Belgium.
Nice.
So that's going to be crazy.
Got to do some sightseeing while you're there.
Oh, right. This is the thing that I both love and hate about tours. You'll get like, so you do have the odd day off, but you're so exhausted on your day off that you're like, let's sleep and then we'll go out. So then we end up only seeing sights at like 9 o'clock at night because we've a whole day in bed asleep. But yeah, no, I'm very, very excited. It's going to be so fun. We've definitely upped the ante on lots of things, like production wise. Our set list, I've been sort of muddling about with what I think the set list should be. And at the minute, it looks lit. We need to practice it and see if it all works out, see if everything's fine. But I'm so excited to be playing these songs. We're going to be playing a lot of stuff off the new album, but as well, I'm a strong believer, but I don't like it when bands will just play like their new stuff. So we've got tracks from like our first ever EP that I don't even think is online anymore. Like it's a whole array of As December Falls tunes. So I'm very excited about that. That's going to be exciting. And we've got Dream State with us, and we're all obsessed with Dream State. We're actually going to see them very soon, and we're playing some shows with them before the tour. So we're very excited to meet them all and like get all friendly with them. It's going to be fun. I'm so excited. I feel like that's all I can say. I'm just very excited about this tour because it's even things like As December Falls crew. We've now got it to a T where we have the perfect people for our crew, and everyone is very grounded and level-headed. There's no arguing, no nothing. It's never awkward. It's lovely. I'm just very excited and happy to be going on such an awesome tour.
Yeah, it sounds like you're in a good place, you know, with everything that's going on, and obviously the album coming around the corner and manifesting that it's going to chart this one. So fingers crossed.
I hope so.
So what other plans have you got for 2023 that you can talk about? I'm going to assume not very much.
I think that pretty much covers it for 2023.
Right.
So we are in talks about some other stuff, but I can't talk about that.
Yeah.
So
Private talked about that, yeah.
Yes, yeah. But again, most of the talks that we're currently in are for 2024.
Cool.
But yes, no, we're not stopping anytime soon. It's just going to be full-fledged As December Falls, all guns are blazing for the next, probably forever now. I think this is it. We just got to keep going.
Yeah. Until you're in a like care home or something. This is the life.
Yeah, absolutely. Until I'm like Steve Tyler at his level, like, yeah. And then I feel like I can have a break, so it's fine.
Get a Zimmer frame out, come on stage, singing Alive.
Yes, it'll be great. And it's like, I'm not feeling very alive. I'm excited for that day to come. So
yeah, that'll be the peak of the career, I think.
Yes, absolutely. That will be the one that I'll write in my memoirs.
Thank you very much, Beth. I really appreciate it. Best of luck with the album launch. I'm sure it's going to go great. I know you're definitely going to get in the charts. I know you are.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Before I let you go and enjoy the rest of your day, any final words, anything you want to say, anything you want to plug?
Please pre-order our album, and I'll love you forever, and I'll give you a hug and I'll sign it just for you. Like,
sold.
That's what I'm going to say. But yeah, we're manifesting it. It's going to happen. Let's do this. Let's go. Let's do it.
Fingers crossed. Well, yeah. Thanks again, Beth.
Thank you so much for having me again. Feel free to have me back anytime. But yeah.
Of course. Yeah. Take care of yourself. See you later.
Bye.
Bye. And that is it. Thank you so much for listening. Again, if you enjoyed this or any other episode of the podcast, then please leave a rating and review wherever you're listening to this. If you want to support the podcast further, you can go and give it a follow on social media, pick up something from the merch store, or subscribe to the Patreon to get early access to episodes. All the links can be found at itsnotaphase.co.uk. That's itsnotaphase.co.uk. Thanks again, hopefully catch you on the next one, and remember, it's not a phase, it's a lifestyle.